She was kicked out with her daughter with nothing, but a street vendor did something that shocked everyone. Amanda Mitchell held her daughter Emma's small hand as they walked through the streets of downtown Charlotte with nothing but a torn bag on her back. The tears had dried, but the ache in her chest remained like an open wound that throbbed with every step. The light March rain began to dampen her brown hair as 7-year-old Emma tugged at the hem of her mother's grey blouse. Her little brown eyes filled with fear. Amanda didn't know where to go. 3 hours earlier, her brother-in-law Richard had shouted at the door of the house they lived in, saying he wouldn't support freeloaders anymore. "Mum, I'm hungry," Emma whispered, pressing closer to her mother's leg. Amanda felt her heart shatter. She didn't even have $5 in her pocket. The last argument with Richard had been terrible. He'd found out she was job hunting without telling him, and it had sent him into a rage. Ever since Amanda's husband, Richard's brother, had passed away 2 years ago, she and Emma had relied on his charity that always came with daily humiliation. "Ungrateful freeloader," Richard's words still echoed in her mind. "You're not even fit to clean bathrooms. Take that brat and get out of my sight." The smell of food drifted from a nearby stall where a man in a beige cap served snacks to workers finishing their shifts. Amanda looked away, ashamed of her situation, but Emma stopped and stared intently at the golden pastries in the glass display. "Ma'am?" The street vendor's gentle voice made her look up. He was a man around 40 with a neatly trimmed mustache and a light polo shirt. His eyes held genuine kindness. "Are you all right?" Amanda tried to force a smile, but her legs trembled. Emma hid behind her, clutching her damp blouse. "We're just passing through," Amanda murmured, trying to pull Emma along. But the man, who introduced himself as Michael Davis, had noticed their state. Their simple, wet clothes, the torn bag, their red-rimmed eyes, and most of all, the way the little girl looked at the food. "You know, I was just looking for someone to help me test a new recipe for coxina. Would you like to try some?" Michael grabbed a plate and set down 3 piping hot coxinas, along with 2 cheese pastries. Emma looked up at her mother with hopeful, shining eyes. Amanda hesitated, pride wounded but seeing her daughter's hunger. "We don't need charity," Amanda said, but her voice came out weak and unconvincing. "It's not charity, ma'am. You'd be doing me a favor. I really need to know if the seasoning's right. I'm new to this street, and if the food isn't good, I'll lose customers." Michael smiled, holding out the plate. "My name's Michael Davis. And you are?" Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us newcomers. Now back to the story. Amanda felt something break inside her. The kindness of this stranger after years of humiliation touched a part of her soul she thought she'd lost. Amanda Mitchell. And this is my daughter, Emma." Emma peeked out from behind her mother and gave a timid wave. Michael crouched down to her level. "Hi, Emma. Do you like coxina?" Emma nodded eagerly, and for the first time that day, a small smile appeared on her lips. Amanda accepted the plate, and the two sat on plastic stools beside the stall. As they ate, Michael kept working but maintained a friendly conversation. He could tell Amanda wasn't just hungry. There was something deeper in her eyes. "Are you from here in Charlotte?" asked Michael Davis, arranging the snacks in the display. "Yes, we were born here, but..." Amanda stopped, unsure how to explain her situation without sounding like she was making up a story to get more food. Emma, more innocent, answered for her mother. "Uncle Richard kicked us out of the house. He said Mommy is good for nothing, and that we're a burden." Amanda flushed with shame, but Michael stopped what he was doing and looked at her seriously. "Where will you sleep tonight?" Michael asked, but Amanda didn't answer, just lowered her head. The truth was, Amanda had no idea. She had no family in town besides the brother-in-law who had thrown her out. Her parents had passed away years before, and she'd lost touch with the few friends she had after marrying very young. "Listen, I know a boarding house nearby. The owner, Eleanor, is a good person. Let me talk to her." Michael pulled an old cell phone from his pocket. "No, please, we've already taken enough." Amanda stood quickly, taking Emma by the hand. "Thank you for the food, but we can't accept anything else." "Wait." Michael gently held Amanda's arm. At least let me give you the addresses of some places where you can look for work tomorrow. I have a few contacts in town. Amanda hesitated. Part of her wanted to accept the help, but another part was afraid of being disappointed again. During the 2 years she'd lived with Richard, she'd tried to get a job several times, but always ran into problems. Sometimes it was because she had no experience, other times because she had no one to watch Emma. I'm not qualified for anything, Amanda admitted, feeling ashamed. I married very young, never worked outside the home. Everyone has some skill. Can you cook, clean, take care of kids? Michael asked kindly. I can do a little of everything, but then you're already ahead of a lot of people out there. Tomorrow morning, if you want, come back here. I'll have some phone numbers for you to call. Amanda nodded, picked Emma up and walked down the street. The day was growing dark and she still didn't know where they'd spend the night. The drizzle had stopped, but the air remained damp and cold. 2 blocks ahead, Amanda spotted a small square with a few benches. It wasn't ideal, but maybe they could rest there until dawn. Emma was getting heavy in her arms, and she looked for a bench farther from the streetlights. Mommy, where are we going to sleep? Emma asked in a sleepy voice. Right here, sweetheart. Let's pretend we're camping, okay? Emma nodded, but Amanda could tell her daughter wasn't convinced. She pulled a jacket from the bag and wrapped it around them both. The concrete bench was hard and cold, but at least they were dry. Through the night, Amanda couldn't sleep. Every noise made her jump, worried for Emma's safety. Around 3 in the morning, it started raining again, and they had to take shelter under the small awning of a closed shop. By sunrise, Amanda was exhausted and sore. Emma complained of back pain from sleeping in an awkward position. They were cold, hungry, and desperately needed a bath. Amanda remembered Michael's promise and decided to return to his stand. Maybe he really could help her find some work. When they arrived, Michael was still setting up. Seeing them, his face lit up, but then grew concerned as he took in their condition. Did you sleep on the street? Michael asked, stopping what he was doing. Amanda nodded, embarrassed. Emma hung her head, clearly uncomfortable. This can't go on. You have to get off the streets today, Michael said firmly. I'll make some calls right now. He started dialing numbers, but the calls weren't going through. The boarding house he knew was full, and his other contacts wouldn't answer so early. All right, here's what I'll do, Michael Davis said after several failed attempts. You'll stay at my place tonight. I live alone and you can use the bathroom, rest, and figure out what to do next. Amanda was alarmed. She didn't know this man, and accepting his offer could be dangerous. No, we can't. We don't know. Do you? Amanda said, taking a step back. I understand your concern. Look, my next-door neighbor is Mrs. Dorothy. She's 70 and knows everyone in this neighborhood. I can call her so you can talk to me with her here. That way you'll see I'm not some lunatic, Michael offered. After thinking for a few minutes, Amanda agreed. The truth was she didn't have many options, and Emma desperately needed a bath and a real bed to rest in. When Mrs. Dorothy arrived, a short, friendly woman with white hair and a floral apron, she quickly reassured Amanda. Michael is an angel, my dear. He takes care of everyone around here. When my grandson got sick, he was the one who drove me to the hospital. You can trust him, Mrs. Dorothy said, holding Amanda's hands. Michael's house was simple but clean and tidy. It had 2 small bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, and a bathroom. He offered them the guest room and insisted they take a hot shower and rest. I'll be at work until around 6 in the evening. When I get back, we can talk about what to do starting tomorrow, Michael said, picking up his box of snacks. Amanda cried in the shower. It was the first time in months she felt truly clean and safe. Emma, after her bath and a small snack, Michael, had left for her, fell into a deep sleep for the first time in days. That afternoon, Amanda tried to gather her thoughts. She needed to find a job urgently, but she also needed someone to watch Emma during the day. It was a dilemma that seemed impossible to solve. When Michael returned from work, he brought a piece of paper with some phone numbers written on it. I talked to a few people today. There's a diner that needs a kitchen helper, and there's also a family looking for a housekeeper 3 times a week, he said, handing the paper to Amanda. But what about Emma? "She can't stay alone," Amanda said, glancing at her daughter, playing with some old toys Michael had lent her. "The family looking for a housekeeper has a daughter around Emma's age. Maybe they'll let you bring her along, it's worth a try." The next day, Amanda called the numbers Michael had gotten for her. The diner wanted her to start immediately, but didn't allow children on the premises. The family was interested, but wanted an in-person interview first. The interview was scheduled for that same afternoon. Amanda was nervous but hopeful. Michael lent her some more presentable clothes that had belonged to his cousin, and she managed to look more appropriate for the interview. The family consisted of Brian and Jennifer Wilson, a middle-aged couple who lived in a large house in the city's upscale neighborhood. They had an 8-year-old daughter named Olivia, who had been shy when meeting Emma. "I need someone to clean the house 3 times a week and occasionally prepare some simple meals," explained Jennifer, a well-dressed woman around 40. The pay would be $400 a month. Amanda thought the amount was low for the work, but she was in no position to refuse anything. The problem arose when Jennifer learned Amanda would need to bring Emma along. "Look, I understand your situation, but I'm not sure it'll work to bring your daughter. Olivia is a very sensitive child, and I don't want her distracted from her studies," Jennifer said, looking at Emma with suspicion. "Emma is very well behaved. She can sit quietly reading or drawing while I work," Amanda replied, desperate to get the job. "I'll talk to my husband and give you an answer tomorrow," Jennifer said, ending the conversation. Amanda left the house feeling humiliated once again. Jennifer had spoken to her as if she were an object, not a person. And the way she looked at Emma, as if the girl were a problem, made Amanda furious. When she returned to Michael Davis's house, he immediately noticed the interview hadn't gone well. "What happened?" Michael asked, pouring Amanda a cup of coffee. "They treated me like an animal, and they looked at Emma as if she had some contagious disease," Amanda vented, tears of frustration welling up. "People like that don't deserve your work. You'll find something better," Michael said, trying to comfort her. "But where? I've tried so many times over the last 2 years, and it always goes wrong. Either they don't want me to bring Emma, or the pay is so low I can't even rent a room." Amanda sat on the couch, feeling defeated. Emma, who had been playing in her room, came into the living room with a worried expression. "Is Mommy sad again?" Emma asked, climbing onto her mother's lap. "No, sweetheart. Mommy's just tired," Amanda lied, hugging her daughter tightly. Michael watched the scene with a heavy heart. He had lost his own family in an accident years before, and seeing Amanda and Emma touched him deeply. But he also knew his financial situation was limited, and he couldn't support them for much longer. The next day, Jennifer called to say she had decided to hire someone else. Amanda wasn't surprised, but she still felt rejected once again. "I'll try the diner even if I can't bring Emma," Amanda told Michael. "Maybe I can find someone to watch her for a few hours." "Mrs. Dorothy has already offered to watch Emma a few times a week. She loves children and is always alone," Michael suggested. Amanda felt relieved at the possibility. Mrs. Dorothy really did seem trustworthy, and Emma had taken a liking to her. At the diner, the owner, an older man named George, urgently needed someone to help in the kitchen during lunch hours. The work was hard, but the pay was reasonable. $600 a month, working from 10 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. "I can start tomorrow," Amanda said, excited to have finally found something. "Great, but I'll warn you now, it's hectic here. If you can't keep up, I'll have to let you go on the spot," George said bluntly. Amanda nodded, determined to do her best. Finally, there was light at the end of the tunnel. On her first day, Amanda discovered the reality was even harder than George had warned. The kitchen was small and hot, and during lunch, orders came non-stop. She had to wash dishes, chop vegetables, fry meats, and even help serve customers. To make matters worse, Karen, the head cook, was far from happy about Amanda's presence. "I don't know why George hired someone else. I've handled everything alone for 5 years, Karen grumbled, going out of her way to make Amanda's job harder. Karen was a wiry woman in her 50s with a sharp temper. She gave Amanda contradictory orders and complained about everything she did. "That's not how you chop onions," Karen snapped on the second day. "And these dishes aren't clean enough. Do them again." Amanda swallowed her pride and redid the work. She needed this job no matter how badly Karen treated her. During breaks, Amanda would call Dorothy to check on Emma. The little girl was adjusting well to the routine, but Amanda missed her during the day. "Mommy, when will you be able to spend more time with me?" Emma asked at the end of the first week. "Soon, sweetheart. First, Mommy needs to get our life in order," Amanda replied, feeling guilty for leaving her daughter with Dorothy for so long. After 2 weeks working at the diner, Amanda finally received her first paycheck. It wasn't much, but it was honest money, earned through her own effort. She set aside some to give to Michael Davis as help with household expenses, and another portion to start looking for a place to live with Emma. However, when she began searching for rooms to rent, she found that prices were far beyond what she could afford. The cheapest she found cost $400 a month, plus a $200 deposit, not including water and electricity. "With my salary, there'll be almost nothing left for food and other expenses," Amanda calculated, feeling discouraged. Michael, noticing her worry, made an offer. "How about you stay here a little longer? You can pay a small amount to help with expenses, and that way you can save up to rent a better place later." Amanda was torn. On one hand, the offer was advantageous and would solve her immediate problem. On the other, she didn't want to become a burden to Michael, who had already done so much for them. "I don't know if that's fair to you," Amanda said. "Amanda, you're not a burden. In fact, you've brought life to this house. I was very lonely before you came," Michael confessed. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. Amanda accepted the offer, but decided that as soon as she could save enough money, they would move out to avoid taking advantage of Michael's kindness. The following weeks brought a stable routine, but not without problems. At the diner, Karen kept making things difficult for Amanda. She changed procedures without warning, hid utensils Amanda needed, and made a point of complaining about her work in front of customers. "This new employee doesn't know how to do anything right," Karen said loudly in front of some regulars. "George should hire more experienced people." Amanda's face burned with shame, but she kept working in silence. She couldn't afford to get into trouble. The situation worsened when Karen began deliberately sabotaging Amanda's work. One day, she added too much salt to a dish Amanda was preparing, making it inedible. When George tasted it and complained, Karen was quick to blame Amanda. "I told you she had no experience, George. I can't watch her every second," Karen said, pretending to be upset. "Amanda, you need to pay more attention," George scolded. "If this happens again, I'll have to reconsider hiring you." Amanda wanted to defend herself but knew it wouldn't help. It was her word against Karen's, who had worked there for 5 years. At home, Amanda tried to hide the pressure she was under at work. Michael and Emma had settled into a harmonious routine, and she didn't want to worry them with her problems. Emma was thriving under Dorothy's loving care and the fatherly presence Michael provided. The once shy and withdrawn little girl now ran around the house laughing, telling stories about what she'd learned during the day. "Michael, can you teach me how to make coxina like yours?" Emma asked one afternoon, climbing onto a chair to make herself taller. "Of course, Princess, but first, you have to learn how to peel potatoes," Michael Davis replied, tying a small apron around Emma. Amanda watched the scene from the backyard, where she was hanging laundry. Seeing Emma happy and safe was all she wanted, but at the same time, she felt a pang of guilt for relying so much on Michael Davis's generosity. Things got complicated when Richard, Amanda's brother-in-law, showed up at the diner on a busy Friday. Well, look who's here," Richard said with a sly smile, sitting at the counter. "The deadbeat finally got a job." Amanda felt her blood run cold at the sight of Richard. He wore the same arrogant expression as always, and she knew his presence there was no coincidence. "What do you want?" Amanda asked quietly, continuing to wash dishes to avoid drawing attention. "Just came to check on my dear sister-in-law. Heard you're living with some man now," Richard said loudly enough for Karen to hear. "That's none of your business," Amanda replied, trying to stay calm. "Of course it's my business. Your family, Amanda. And I'm worried about my niece. Is that really a suitable environment for a child?" Richard continued, clearly trying to provoke her. Karen, who always looked for reasons to criticize Amanda, stepped closer with interest. "What's this about?" Karen asked Richard. "Amanda here is living with a man she barely knows along with her little girl." "As the child's uncle, I'm concerned," Richard said, pretending to be a doting uncle. Amanda felt anger rising in her chest. Richard had thrown her out without a second thought, and now he was acting concerned. "Richard, you have no right to say anything about my life. You threw me out on the street," Amanda said, stopping the dishes and glaring at her brother-in-law. "I tried to help you for 2 years, Amanda, but you never cooperated. Now, you're out here selling yourself just to get a roof over your head," Richard said maliciously. The accusation felt like a slap in the face. Amanda dropped the plate she was washing, shattering it on the floor, and turned to Richard with fire in her eyes. "How dare you say something like that?" Amanda shouted, losing control. The sound of the breaking plate and the yelling drew everyone's attention in the diner. George quickly came out of the kitchen to see what was happening. "What's going on here?" George asked, seeing the broken plate and Amanda visibly upset. "Nothing serious, George. Just Amanda's brother-in-law sharing some truths." "About her life?" Karen said with a smirk. Richard stood up from the counter with a satisfied smile. "Just came to visit my sister-in-law." "Didn't know she had such a temper at work," Richard said, leaving $5 on the counter. "Bye, Amanda. Take good care of Emma." Richard left the diner, leaving Amanda humiliated and furious. George was clearly annoyed by the commotion. And Karen didn't hide her delight at the situation. "Amanda, come here," George called, motioning to his small office in the back of the diner. Amanda followed with her heart pounding. She knew the scene might cost her the job. "What was that about?" George asked, closing the door. "My brother-in-law is a terrible person. He kicked me out and now he's trying to ruin things for me," Amanda explained, struggling to keep her voice steady. "But is it true? You're living with a man you barely know?" George asked. Amanda hesitated. Technically, Richard wasn't lying about that, though he'd twisted the situation completely. "My daughter and I were in a tough spot. Michael Davis helped us when we had nowhere else to go. He's a decent man," Amanda explained. "Look, Amanda, I don't meddle in my employees' personal lives. But I can't have any trouble in my diner. If it happens again, I'll have to let you go," George said. "It won't happen again. I need this job," Amanda replied, almost pleading. George let her return to work, but Amanda could tell he was suspicious after their conversation. Karen, on the other hand, was delighted by the situation and didn't miss the chance to make snide remarks for the rest of the day. When Amanda got home that night, she was emotionally shattered. Michael Davis immediately noticed something was wrong. "What happened?" Michael asked, seeing Amanda's puffy face. Amanda told him everything that had happened at the diner. Michael was furious at Richard's behavior, but also worried about the consequences for Amanda. "That man is a coward. He knows you can't defend yourself," Michael said, clenching his fists. "The problem is now everyone at the diner will be looking at me with suspicion. Karen was already looking for ways to hurt me," Amanda said, sitting on the couch with her, head in her hands. Emma, who had been quiet until then, approached her mother. "Mommy, is Uncle Richard really mean?" Emma asked innocently. Amanda looked at her daughter and decided she wouldn't lie or hide the truth anymore. "Yes, sweetheart. Some people are. Just mean, and Uncle Richard is one of them. But we won't let him hurt us, okay?" Amanda said, hugging Emma. "Michael won't let him be mean to us, right?" Emma said, looking at Michael with trust. The little girl's words deeply moved Michael. He realized he had become a father figure to Emma, and that brought both joy and responsibility. "Of course not, Princess. No one will hurt you as long as I'm around," Michael promised. In the following days, the atmosphere at the diner grew tense. Karen had spread the story of the incident to other employees and even some customers, always twisting it to make Amanda look bad. "Did you know Amanda is living with a man she barely knows?" Karen remarked to a regular customer. "And she has a little girl too. Imagine the kind of example that child is getting." Amanda overheard the comments and wanted to defend herself, but she knew any reaction would only fuel the gossip. Things got worse when some customers started asking Amanda direct questions. "Is it true you're living with a street vendor?" asked a woman who often ate at the diner. "My personal life isn't up for discussion," Amanda replied politely but firmly. "Oh, but when you have a little girl, your personal life becomes everyone's business," the woman retorted with a superior tone. Amanda's face burned with shame. But she kept working in silence. She was starting to realize she might need to find another job before things became unbearable. The breaking point came on a Tuesday when Amanda arrived at work and found George talking seriously with Karen in the office. When he saw her, he motioned for her to come in. "Amanda, have a seat," George said, pointing to a chair. Amanda sat down with a heavy heart. Karen wore a poorly disguised look of satisfaction. "Karen told me you've been distracted at work. Add that some customers have complained about you," George began. "What kind of complaints?" Amanda asked, knowing it was a trap. "They say you've been moody and rude," George said, clearly uncomfortable. Amanda looked at Karen, who avoided her gaze. She knew she was being treated unfairly, but also knew she couldn't prove it. "I've never been rude to a single customer," Amanda said, keeping her composure. "Look, Amanda, you're a good person, but maybe this environment isn't right for you. There's too much gossip, too much pressure," George said, clearly setting the stage for a dismissal. "Are you firing me?" Amanda asked directly. "I'm giving you the chance to resign, that way you can look for something better," George replied. Amanda realized she had no choice. If she refused to resign, George would find a reason to let her go anyway. "All right, I'll resign," Amanda said, standing up. "I'll settle your dues and you can leave today," George said, relieved to resolve the situation without further conflict. Amanda cleared out her locker, took her belongings, and left the diner without looking back. On the street, she let the tears flow. Once again, she was unemployed and back to square one. When she got home, Michael was still at work, and Emma was at Mrs. Dorothy's house. Amanda sat on the couch and cried out of frustration. It seemed like every time she took a step forward, something pushed her 2 steps back. Michael came home early that day and found Amanda sitting in the dark living room. "Amanda, what happened?" Michael asked, turning on the light. Amanda told him everything. Michael was outraged by the injustice, but also worried about her emotional state. "You didn't do anything wrong. They set you up on purpose," Michael said, sitting beside her on the couch. "But the result is the same." "I'm unemployed again," Amanda said, wiping her eyes. "We'll figure it out. We always do," Michael tried to comfort her. "Michael, I can't keep relying on you like this. It's not fair," Amanda said, looking at him. "Maybe it's better if I find shelter somewhere else." "Don't even think about it. You're not leaving," Michael said firmly. "Amanda, I need to tell you something you might not want to hear, but it has to be said." Amanda watched him intently. "I've grown attached to you two. Not out of charity or pity. You've become my family," Michael confessed. "When I come home and see Emma running to hug me, when I see you smiling in the kitchen, I feel whole in a way I haven't in years." Amanda was moved by his words, but also confused. She felt something similar but was afraid of misreading the situation. "Michael, you're a wonderful person, but—" "No buts. I'm not asking for anything in return, Amanda. I'm just asking you to stay. For us to be a real family," Michael said, taking her hand. At that moment, Emma came running into the living room from Mrs. Dorothy's house. "Michael, look what I learned to make today," Emma shouted, holding up a drawing she had made. Michael lifted the girl into his lap and praised her artwork. Amanda watched with a heavy heart. Emma had grown so attached to Michael that separating now would be traumatic for her. "Mommy, why is your face wet?" Emma asked, noticing Amanda had been crying. "Mommy was just a little sad, but it's okay now," Amanda said, forcing a smile. "Michael, can you make Mommy happy again?" Emma asked innocently. "I'll try, Princess," Michael replied, looking at Amanda. That night, after Emma went to bed, Amanda and Michael talked late into the night about the future. Amanda was torn between her need for independence and her desire to give Emma a stable family. "I need to find another job soon. I can't just sit around," Amanda said. "We'll look together. And this time we'll find something where you're valued the way you deserve," Michael promised. In the following days, Amanda intensified her job search. She bought newspapers, searched online ads, and went around town delivering resumes. Michael Davis helped whenever he could, suggesting places and people who might have openings. After a week of searching, Amanda got an interview at a small hotel in the downtown area. The position was for a housekeeper, and the pay was slightly less than what she earned at the diner, but it was an opportunity. The interview was with the hotel manager, a woman named Linda, around 35 years old, who seemed professional and straightforward. "Do you have experience cleaning hotel rooms?" Linda asked. "Not specifically in a hotel, but I have general cleaning experience," Amanda answered honestly. "The work is demanding. It's 20 rooms a day, and everything has to be spotless." "For the next guest," Linda explained. "The hours are from 7 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, Monday through Saturday." Amanda was worried about the schedule. She'd have to leave Emma with Dorothy very early and pick her up only in the late afternoon. "When can I start?" Amanda asked, deciding to figure out the logistics later. "Tomorrow, if you want. We have an employee who left without notice and we're in urgent need," Linda said. Amanda accepted the job and left the hotel feeling hopeful. She had finally landed another job, and this time she hoped things would be different. On her first day, Amanda discovered that housekeeping was even more exhausting than she'd imagined. Each room took about 20 minutes to clean and organize completely, and some guests left real disasters behind. Plus, Amanda had to quickly learn the hotel's quality standards. The towels had to be folded a certain way, the pillows had to be perfectly centered on the bed, and every bathroom had to be immaculate. "If a room fails inspection, you'll have to redo everything, and that holds up the others," explained Deborah, a co-worker training Amanda. Deborah was a 40-year-old woman, experienced and efficient, but a little impatient with newcomers. "The trick is to organize the cleaning sequence just right. First, change all the bedding, then vacuum, then clean the bathroom, and finally, wipe down the furniture," Deborah quickly instructed. Amanda tried to keep up, but it was clear she'd need time to get into the rhythm. By the end of the first day, she had only cleaned 15 rooms, 5 short of the goal. "It's normal at first. You'll get the hang of it in a week," Deborah said, seeing Amanda's concern. Linda, however, wasn't satisfied with Amanda's performance. "Amanda, I understand you're learning, but I can't let the hotel's productivity drop for too long," Linda said at the end of the first week. "Next week you need to manage all 20 rooms." Amanda agreed, determined to improve. She spent the weekend thinking of ways to be more efficient. By the second week, Amanda met the goal, but at the cost of great effort and back pain. Work was physically draining, and she came home exhausted every day. Emma started complaining that her mother was always tired and didn't play with her like before. "Mommy, you're always asleep when I get home from Dorothy's," Emma said. One night, climbing onto the bed where Amanda was resting. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. Mommy's working hard so we can have a better life," Amanda explained, pulling Emma into a hug. "But I like our life here with Michael Davis," Emma said innocently. Her daughter's words struck a tender spot in Amanda. She also enjoyed the life they had built in Michael Davis's home, but she felt guilty for taking advantage of his generosity. Michael, noticing Amanda's exhaustion, tried to help her whenever he could. He took on the responsibility of making dinner every night and also helping Emma with her homework. "You don't have to do this," Amanda said one evening, finding Michael washing the dinner dishes. "I want to." "We're a family, Amanda." "A real family," Michael replied, looking at her. Amanda felt her heart race. For weeks, she had been realizing her feelings for Michael were growing into something deeper than gratitude, but she was afraid of ruining the stability they had achieved. Things got complicated at the hotel when Amanda discovered some guests were making inappropriate requests. A middle-aged businessman who stayed at the hotel regularly began making inappropriate comments while Amanda cleaned his room. "You're new here, aren't you?" he said, blocking the doorway as Amanda tried to leave with the cleaning cart. "Excuse me, I need to finish my work," Amanda said, trying to stay professional. "Relax, no need to rush. How about we chat a little?" the man insisted, stepping closer. Amanda felt fear and discomfort. She pushed the cleaning cart to force a path and quickly left the room. The following week, the same guest returned to the hotel and again made inappropriate advances toward Amanda. This time, he was more direct. "Look, I can give you a good tip if you're more friendly," he said, grabbing Amanda's arm. "Let me go," Amanda said loudly, pulling away and running out of the room. Amanda reported the incident to Linda, hoping some action would be taken. However, the manager's reaction surprised her. "Amanda, he's a VIP guest at the hotel. Are you sure you didn't misinterpret the situation?" Linda asked skeptically. He grabbed my arm and made indecent proposals. There's no way to misinterpret that, Amanda replied, outraged. Look, I'll talk to him, but you need to be careful not to stir up unnecessary trouble. This guest spends a lot of money here, Linda said, clearly prioritizing the hotel's profits. Amanda was furious with Linda's response. She was being harassed by a guest, and instead of protecting her, the manager was worried about the hotel's bottom line. What if he tries something again? Amanda asked. Try to avoid being alone in the room with him. Always bring a co-worker with you, Linda suggested, as if the problem were Amanda's responsibility. Amanda left the manager's office feeling unprotected and humiliated. She realized once again she was in a hostile work environment where she wouldn't be valued or protected. When she told Michael about the situation that night, he was furious. "This is unacceptable. You need to leave that place," Michael said, pacing nervously around the room. "But I need to work. I can't keep depending on you forever," Amanda argued. "Amanda, you're not depending on me. We're a family and families help each other," Michael said, stopping and looking directly at her. "But no buts. Tomorrow, you're going back there to quit. I won't let you put up with this kind of situation," Michael said firmly. Amanda was touched by Michael's concern, but also frustrated at having to give up another job. "And then what? I'll be unemployed again," Amanda said, sitting on the couch. "Then we'll figure out a better solution. Maybe it's time for you to start your own business," Michael suggested. "My own business? With what money?" Amanda laughed humorlessly. "You're a great cook. You could make sweets and snacks to sell. I'll help with the startup capital," Michael Davis proposed. Amanda was tempted by the idea, but also unsure. She had never run a business on her own and was afraid of failing. "I don't know if I'm capable of this," Amanda admitted. "Of course you are. You're smart, hardworking, and determined. You just need an opportunity," Michael said, sitting beside her. Emma, who had overheard part of the conversation from her room, appeared in the living room in her pajamas. "Mommy's going to make sweets to sell?" Emma asked excitedly. "Mommy's thinking about it, sweetheart," Amanda replied. "I can help. I know how to make brigadeiro," Emma said, climbing onto her mother's lap. Emma's innocence and enthusiasm moved Amanda. Maybe it really was time to try something different, something where she could take control of her own life. The next day, Amanda went to the hotel determined to quit. Linda wasn't surprised by her decision. "I figured you wouldn't last long here. This job isn't for everyone," Linda said dismissively. "Actually, I can handle the work. What I can't handle is harassment from guests and a manager who doesn't protect her staff," Amanda replied, unable to hold back. "You're exaggerating the situation. But oh well, to each their own," Linda said, waving Amanda off indifferently. Amanda left the hotel for the last time, relieved not to have to return to that hostile environment, but also worried about her financial future. When she got home, she found Michael researching recipes online and jotting notes in a notebook. "What are you doing?" Amanda asked curiously. "I'm looking up which sweets and snacks sell best at parties and events, for when you decide to start your business," Michael replied with a smile. Amanda was touched to see Michael had taken the idea seriously and was already planning details. "Michael, Amanda began but couldn't finish. "You what?" Michael asked, stopping his writing to look at her. "I don't know how to thank you for everything you've done for us," Amanda said, tears welling in her eyes. "You don't have to thank me. You two have changed my life in ways I can't even explain," Michael confessed. Just then, Emma came running in from Dorothy's house and interrupted the conversation. "I guess what? Mrs. Dorothy said I can help plant flowers in her garden," Emma announced excitedly. "That's wonderful, sweetheart," Amanda said, discreetly wiping her eyes. "Mommy, are you really going to make sweets?" Emma asked, returning to Moa, the topic that interested her. "I think so, Emma. I think we're going to try," Amanda decided in that moment. Emma jumped for joy, and Michael smiled, pleased to see Amanda making a positive decision for their future. Over the next few days, Amanda and Michael began planning the sweets and snacks business. They made a list of basic ingredients, researched suppliers, and calculated costs. "Let's start small. Take orders for birthday parties and small neighborhood events," Michael suggested. "But how will we spread the word?" Amanda asked. "Mrs. Dorothy knows everyone around here. I'm sure she'll help get the news out, Michael said. Amanda was excited about the project but also anxious. This would be her first attempt at running her own business, and she wanted it to succeed. What if it doesn't work out? Amanda voiced her fears. It will. You've got talent for this, Michael said with conviction. To test the recipes, Amanda started making different kinds of sweets and snacks. Emma became her official assistant, helping mix ingredients and decorate brigadeiros. Mommy, this brigadeiro is even better than the one at Maria's party, Emma said, licking her fingers. Dorothy was the first customer of the budding business. She ordered 100 savory snacks for her granddaughter's birthday, and Amanda spent 2 days preparing coccinhas, pastries, and empadas. Sweetheart, these snacks are absolutely delicious. Everyone at the party asked who made them, Dorothy reported the next day. I already have 3 people wanting to place orders for the coming weeks. Amanda was overjoyed by the positive feedback. For the first time in a long while, she felt confident about her professional future. Orders began trickling in gradually. Amanda catered children's birthdays, baby showers, and small gatherings. The money wasn't much, but it was honest and came from work she truly enjoyed. Michael Davis had insisted on contributing the startup capital, but Amanda was determined to pay back every penny once the business was established. You don't have to pay me back. Consider it an investment in our family, Michael said. Our family? Amanda asked, noting the way he'd phrased it. Michael realized he'd said more than he intended, but chose not to backtrack. That's exactly what I said, our family, he repeated, looking into Amanda's eyes. Amanda felt her heart race. For weeks, she'd noticed her feelings for Michael, deepening but had been afraid to admit it to herself. Michael, Amanda began, but was interrupted by Emma arriving home from school. Guys, my teacher said I can bring brigadeiros to the school party, Emma announced, tossing her backpack onto the sofa. The moment was broken, but Amanda knew she'd need to have a serious conversation with Michael about what they were building together. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now back to the story. In the following weeks, Amanda's business began to grow. She'd connected with a few local schools that bought savory snacks for their cafeterias, and even secured a small contract with a company to provide snacks for meetings. Emma was proud of her mother and always told her classmates at school that her mum owned a sweets business. My mum makes the best brigadeiros in the world, Emma told her teacher, who smiled and praised Amanda when she saw her at school pickup. Amanda finally felt her life was on track. She had work she loved, a stable, if modest, income, and was living in a warm family environment. However, the peace was shattered when Richard showed up again. This time, he went straight to Michael's house one afternoon, while Amanda was working in the kitchen. Something smells good, Richard said, walking into the backyard without ceremony. Looks like my sister-in-law is doing well for herself. Amanda froze at the sound of Richard's voice. Michael was at work, and Emma was at school, so she was alone to handle the situation. What do you want, Richard? Amanda asked, not stopping her stirring of the candy on the stove. Just came to see how you're doing. Heard you've set up a little business here, Richard said, glancing around the kitchen curiously. How did you find out? Amanda asked, suspicious. Charlotte's a small town, Amanda. Everyone knows everything, Richard replied, stepping closer to the stove. Can I taste? No, Amanda said flatly. Richard laughed at her reaction. Always so proud. But I came here with a proposal, he said, shifting his tone. Amanda eyed him warily, still stirring the candy. What kind of proposal? I'm thinking of opening a small restaurant in the neighborhood. We could be partners. You handle the cooking, I'll take care of the business side, Richard suggested. Amanda almost let the dessert burn. She was so shocked by the offer. Are you serious? Amanda asked, incredulous. Completely serious. You have a talent for cooking and I have business experience, Richard said, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Amanda couldn't believe what she was hearing. The same man who had humiliated her and thrown her out of the house now wanted to be her business partner. Richard, you threw me out like I was trash, and now you want to be my partner? Amanda said, turning off the stove and facing her brother-in-law. Look, Amanda, maybe I was a little harsh back then, but I was going through financial trouble and couldn't support everyone. Richard tried to justify. A little harsh? You called me a freeloader in front of my daughter, Amanda said, feeling old anger resurface. All right, I went too far. But things are different now. You're proving yourself, and I'm acknowledging that, Richard said, trying to sound reasonable. Amanda realized Richard wasn't there out of regret or a desire to reconcile. He had found out she was succeeding with her dessert business and wanted to take advantage. The answer is no, Richard. I don't want a partnership with you or anyone else, Amanda said firmly. Don't be stupid, Amanda. On your own, you'll always be a small-time baker. With me, you could really grow, Richard insisted. I'd rather be an honest small-time baker than partner with someone I don't trust, Amanda shot back. Richard grew irritated at the refusal. You're making a mistake, Amanda, and when you regret it, don't come looking for me again, he said, storming out of the kitchen. I won't regret it, Amanda shouted after him. Richard left the house, leaving Amanda nervous and worried. She knew her brother-in-law well enough to understand he wouldn't give up easily when he wanted something. When Michael Davis came home from work, Amanda told him about Richard's unexpected visit. That man never gives up, Michael said, clearly annoyed. What does he really want? I think he found out the business is doing well and wants a cut of the profits, Amanda analyzed. You did the right thing refusing. That kind of person only brings trouble, Michael said. But I'm worried. Knowing Richard, he won't take no for an answer, Amanda expressed her fears. He can't do anything. You don't owe him a thing, Michael tried to reassure her. Emma came home from school just then, running in to share her day. Mom, the school principal wants to talk to you tomorrow, Emma announced. Amanda immediately grew concerned. Did something happen? Did you misbehave? No, she wants to order desserts for the 5th grade graduation party, Emma said, beaming. Amanda sighed in relief and smiled. It was good news after the stressful day she'd had. That's wonderful, sweetheart, Amanda said, hugging her daughter. The next day, Amanda went to the school to speak with the principal, a kind woman named Olivia. Amanda, I tried your desserts at Mrs. Dorothy's birthday party, and I was impressed by the quality, the principal said. I'd like to order 300 desserts for the graduation party. It was the largest order Amanda had ever received, and she felt both excited and nervous about the responsibility. When is the party? Amanda asked. In 3 weeks. Can you do it? The principal asked. Yes, I can, Amanda replied, already calculating how many ingredients she'd need to buy. As she left the school, Amanda was thrilled by the opportunity, but also anxious. 300 sweets would be too much work to make alone, especially with the other orders I already had. At home, she talked to Michael Davis about the situation. It's going to be a lot of work. Maybe I need to hire someone to help me, Amanda said. What about asking Dorothy for help? She loves cooking and would surely be happy to earn some extra money, Michael suggested. That's a good idea. I'll talk to her, Amanda decided. Dorothy was overjoyed when Amanda made the proposal. Of course I'll help, dear. It'll be fun working together, Dorothy said, clapping her hands. With Dorothy's help, Amanda managed to organize the production of the 300 sweets. The two spent an entire week working together, and Emma also helped by decorating. Some brigadeiros. It looks like a candy factory in here, Michael commented, seeing the kitchen full of molds and ingredients. The graduation party was a success, and Amanda's sweets were a hit among the guests. Several parents asked for her contact for future orders. Amanda, you have real potential to grow in this business, the school principal remarked at the end of the party. Amanda was proud of the result and excited about the new possibilities opening up. The money from the order also helped stabilize the family's finances. However, Richard showed up again the following week, this time with a more aggressive attitude. I heard you were a hit at the school party, Richard said, arriving uninvited. So what? Amanda replied, not stopping what she was doing. Amanda, you're being stubborn. Just accept my offer and stop playing businesswoman, Richard said irritably. I already said no, and this time Michael is here, Amanda said, pointing to Michael, who had just arrived from work. Michael immediately sensed the tension in the air. Is there a problem here? Michael asked, standing beside Amanda. The problem is my sister-in-law, who doesn't recognize a good opportunity, Richard said disdainfully. Amanda already said she's not interested, I think you should respect her decision, Michael said firmly. And who are you? To speak for her? Richard shot back aggressively. I'm the man who takes care of this family, Michael replied without hesitation. Michael's response surprised both Amanda and Richard. It was the first time Michael openly declared himself part of the family. Oh, I see. So that's how it works now, Richard said with a smirk. Very interesting. Richard left the house with a look that suggested he was plotting something. Amanda was worried about how he had reacted. Michael, you shouldn't have spoken like that, Amanda said after Richard left. Why not? It's the truth, Michael replied. Amanda, I need to tell you something. Amanda realized the moment had come for the conversation they'd been putting off for weeks. I know, Amanda said softly. Know what? Michael asked. I know you want to talk about us, Amanda said, looking at him. And you, do you want to talk? Michael asked. Amanda nodded, her heart racing. Emma, go play in your room for a bit, Amanda asked her daughter, who obeyed without complaint. When they were alone, Michael took Amanda's hands. Amanda, I know our situation started as an emergency arrangement, but it's become so much more to me, Michael began. For me too, Amanda confessed. I've fallen in love with you, and with Emma too. You two have become my family, and I can't imagine my life without you anymore, Michael said, looking straight into her eyes. Amanda felt tears welling up. She had also fallen in love with Michael Davis, but was afraid to admit it because of all the help she had received from him. Michael, I've fallen in love with you too, but I'm scared, Amanda confessed. Scared of what? Michael asked. Scared that you might be confusing pity with love. Scared that you feel obligated to take care of us, Amanda explained her fears. Amanda, look at me, Michael said, holding her face in his hands. I don't pity you. I admire your strength, your determination, your love for Emma. I fell in love with the incredible woman you are, not the difficult situation you were going through. Amanda could no longer hold back her tears. For so long she had felt like a burden, like someone who needed help. Hearing Michael say he loved her for who she was, not for what she needed, touched her heart deeply. I love you, Michael, Amanda said for the first time. Michael kissed her, finally sealing what both of them had been feeling for so long. Emma appeared in the room at that moment, and seeing the two kissing made a surprised face that quickly turned into joy. Are you two dating now? Emma asked innocently. Amanda and Michael pulled apart, laughing at the girl's reaction. What? Do you think about that? Michael asked Emma. I think it's great. Now will you be my real daddy? Emma asked hopefully. The girl's question touched Michael deeply. He had lost the chance to be a biological father, but now he saw the opportunity to be a father by choice. If your mum allows it, and if you want me to, I'd love to be your daddy, Michael replied. Emma jumped into his lap, giving him a tight hug. Yes, I want that, Emma said. Amanda watched the scene with her heart full of joy. Finally, after so much suffering, her family was complete. In the following weeks, life in Michael's house officially became a family life. Amanda and Michael made their relationship public, and Emma was radiant to finally have a present father. The sweets business also continued to grow. Amanda had secured a few more steady contracts and was considering renting a commercial space to expand production. I think it's time we consider a proper location for the business, Amanda told Michael one afternoon. You're right, the kitchen at home is getting too small for the demand, Michael agreed. They began looking for small commercial spaces in the area, something Amanda could afford with the business income. It was during one of these searches that Richard reappeared, this time with a different proposal. Amanda, I've thought more about our conversation, Richard said, approaching her on the street as she left a real estate office. Richard, I already told you I don't want a partnership with you, Amanda said, trying to walk past him. Just listen. It's not a partnership, it's a purchase offer, Richard said, blocking her path. Purchase of what? Amanda asked, confused. I'll buy your business. I'll pay you $15,000 up front for everything. The recipes, the contacts, the contracts, Richard proposed. Amanda was surprised by the offer. It was a lot of money, more than she had earned in months of work. Why do you want to buy my business? Amanda asked suspiciously. Because I see potential. "And I'd rather pay you now than see you competing with me later," Richard said. Amanda realized Richard was planning to enter the food business one way or another, and preferred to eliminate possible competition before it grew further. "The answer is no," Amanda said firmly. 20,000, Richard increased the offer. Amanda hesitated for a moment. $20,000 was truly a lot of money, and she could use it to start an even bigger business in another field. "I need to think about it," Amanda said. "You have until tomorrow to decide." "Then the offer is off the table," Richard said as he left. At home, Amanda told Michael about the proposal. "It's a lot of money, Michael. With that amount, I could start anything," Amanda said, clearly tempted. "But you love what you do, and it's working out," Michael argued. "Yes, but $20,000 is an amount I might never save up working with sweets," Amanda pondered. "Amanda, you know Richard. If he's willing to pay that much, it's because he sees a lot of potential in your business. More than you're seeing," Michael analyzed. Emma, who was listening to the conversation, gave her opinion. "Mommy, are you going to stop making brigadeiros?" she asked sadly. Her daughter's question made Amanda reflect. The sweets business wasn't just a source of income, it was something she truly loved doing. It was her first experience of financial independence earned through her own talent. "No, sweetheart, Mommy won't stop making brigadeiros," Amanda decided right then. The next day, when Richard showed up expecting an answer, Amanda was ready. "Richard, thank you for the offer, but my business isn't for sale," Amanda said. "You're making a mistake, Amanda. You'll regret it when I open my diner and take all your customers," Richard threatened. "If you can do better than me, that's my problem." "Competition is part of the game," Amanda replied, unfazed. Richard left visibly irritated by the refusal. Amanda knew he wouldn't give up easily, but she was determined to face any challenge that came her way. In the following weeks, Amanda doubled her efforts to expand the business. She managed to rent a small commercial space and bought some basic equipment to increase production. Michael helped with the renovations, and Emma was in charge of decorating the place with colorful drawings. "It's looking beautiful," Emma said, admiring everyone's work. The opening of the little sweets shop was an event for the whole neighborhood. Dorothy organized a small celebration, and many people from the community came to see the new venture. "Congratulations, Amanda. You deserve all the success in the world," a neighbor said. Amanda was moved by the community's support. After so much suffering and humiliation, she was finally being recognized for her talent and hard work. However, the joy didn't last long. The week after the opening, Richard opened his diner right across from Amanda's shop. "He did it on purpose," Michael said, watching the activity at Richard's diner. "Of course he did. He wants to ruin me." Amanda analyzed the situation. Richard had set up a full diner with savory snacks, sandwiches, juices, and even sweets. He was clearly trying to steal Amanda's customers by offering the same products at lower prices. "What are we going to do?" Amanda asked, worried. "We'll show that quality matters more than price," Michael said firmly. Amanda decided not to be intimidated by the competition. She began investing even more in the quality of her products and personalized service. While Richard focused on quantity and low prices, Amanda focused on handmade goods, exclusive recipes, and warm service that made customers feel special. "Mrs. Amanda, your brigadeiros are so much better than the ones at the diner across the street," a regular customer remarked. "That's because I make them with love, not just to sell," Amanda replied. Gradually, Amanda realized her strategy was working. Customers who tried Richard's products came back to buy from her, commenting on the difference in quality. Richard, seeing his plan wasn't working, began taking more aggressive actions. He hired an employee to stand at the door of Amanda's shop, offering discounts to anyone who bought from his diner. "That's unfair competition," Michael Davis said, watching the situation. "But it's not illegal," Amanda replied, trying to stay calm. The situation escalated when Richard started spreading rumors about the origin of the ingredients Amanda used. "Be careful with these handmade sweets. You never know if they're made in a proper place," Richard would say loudly whenever he passed by Amanda's shop. Amanda was furious at the slander, but Michael convinced her not to stoop to Richard's level. "Let him talk. Those who know your work know the truth," Michael advised. The proof of Amanda's quality came when she received a special order. The mayor's wife had tasted her sweets at a party and wanted to place an order for her husband's 50th birthday. "I want you to make all the sweets for the party. There will be 200 guests," the mayor's wife said. It was the largest and most important order Amanda had ever received. If it went well, it would be an excellent reference for future work. Amanda worked tirelessly for a week to prepare all the sweets for the party. Dorothy helped her, and even Emma pitched in by decorating some brigadeiros. The party was an absolute success. The sweets were such a hit that Amanda left with 10 more orders for other important events in town. "Amanda, you have a special talent. I've never tasted such delicious sweets," one of the party guests commented. The impact of the mayor's party was immediate. In the following days, several important people in town came to Amanda's shop to place orders. Richard, seeing that his competitive strategy wasn't working, grew increasingly desperate. He even tried to bribe some of Amanda's employees to sabotage her production. "Mrs. Amanda, the owner of the diner across the street, offered me money to put salt instead of sugar in your sweets," one of Amanda's recently hired employees confessed. Amanda was horrified by the offer, but proud of her employee's honesty. "Thank you for telling me. People like you make all the difference," Amanda said gratefully. The situation with Richard became unbearable when he started making direct threats. "Amanda, you'll regret crossing me," Richard said, confronting her on the street. "Richard, you're overreacting. It's just business competition," Amanda tried to calm him. "It's not just competition, it's personal," Richard said angrily. "You humiliated me and now you'll pay for it." Amanda was frightened by the threat and told Michael when she got home. "That man is losing control. Maybe it's time to seek help," Michael said, concerned. "What kind of help?" Amanda asked. "We could consult a lawyer. His threats could be considered a crime," Michael suggested. Amanda hesitated to take legal action against Richard, but she was tired of the constant harassment. "I'll think about it," Amanda said. The decision was made for her when Richard showed up at Emma's school, trying to convince the principal to stop buying Amanda's sweets. "Principal, I can provide the same sweets for a much better price," Richard said, trying to discredit Amanda's work. The principal, who already knew the quality of Amanda's work, wasn't swayed. "Thank you for the offer, but we're happy with Amanda's work," the principal replied. Richard persisted, even insinuating that Amanda didn't have proper sanitary conditions for production. "That's a serious accusation. Do you have any proof?" the principal asked. "Have you visited her production site? Have you seen her hygiene certificates?" Richard pressed. The principal was bothered by Richard's persistence and called Amanda to tell her about the visit. "Amanda, I don't know what kind of relationship you have with this man, but he was here trying to harm your work," the principal reported. Amanda was furious. Trying to hurt her business was one thing, but involving Emma's school was unacceptable. "Now he's crossed the line," Amanda said to Michael Davis. "Let's find a lawyer." The lawyer they consulted confirmed that Richard was committing crimes of defamation and unfair competition. "Do you have witnesses to the threats and attempts at defamation?" the lawyer asked. "Plenty. He didn't hide while doing it," Amanda replied. "Then you have a strong case. I can file a lawsuit against him," the lawyer offered. Amanda was determined to sue Richard, but before that, she wanted to try one last conversation, making it clear she wouldn't be intimidated anymore. She went to Richard's diner one afternoon when she knew he'd be there. "Richard, we need to talk," Amanda said as she walked in. Well, look who came to visit me," Richard said sarcastically. "I'm here to warn you. If you keep up these threats and attempts at defamation, I'll sue you," Amanda said bluntly. "A lawsuit?" Richard laughed. "With what money?" "With the money I'm making from my business." "The business you wanted to buy so badly," Amanda shot back. Richard realized Amanda was serious and changed his tone. "Amanda, why don't we stop this fight? We can coexist peacefully." Richard tried a conciliatory approach. "I've always wanted peace. You started this war," Amanda replied. "Fine. I'll stop bothering you, but don't expect me to make your life easy," Richard said. "I don't expect anything from you, Richard. Just let me work in peace," Amanda said, before leaving the diner. In the following months, Richard did stop the direct threats, but kept trying to undermine Amanda indirectly. His diner, however, wasn't doing well. The quality of the products was inferior, and he didn't have Amanda's natural talent for baking. Amanda, on the other hand, was thriving. Her business grew every month, and she was already thinking of hiring more employees. "I think it's time we moved into our own house," Amanda told Michael Davis one evening. "Are you sure? I'm happy here," Michael replied. "I am too, but I want our family to have a home that's truly ours," Amanda explained. Michael understood her feelings. She wanted her independence to be complete, including owning their own home. "Then let's look for a house for our family," Michael agreed. Emma was excited about the idea of moving to a new home. "Can I pick the color of my room?" Emma asked. "Of course, sweetheart," Amanda replied. House hunting became a family activity. On weekends, the three of them visited homes for sale in the area. "This one has a big backyard for Emma to play," Michael remarked during one visit. "And there's room to expand the kitchen if I ever want to bake at home too," Amanda added. After a few weeks of searching, they found the perfect house. It was simple but in good condition, with 3 bedrooms, a large backyard, and a spacious kitchen. "This is the one," Emma said, running through the backyard. Amanda and Michael exchanged a glance and smiled. They too felt it was the right house for them. "Let's make an offer," Amanda decided. The home buying process took time, but they finally closed the deal. Amanda used her savings from the baking business for the down payment, and Michael helped with the rest. "Now we're truly a complete family with our own home," Michael said on moving day. The move to the new house coincided with an expansion of Amanda's business. She had secured a contract to supply sweets for a local chain of coffee shops, which meant a significant increase in demand. "I'll need to hire more employees," Amanda said, calculating the necessary production. "Dorothy could help. More days a week," Michael suggested. "I'll talk to her, and I'll also need someone to help me with the administrative side," Amanda planned. The business growth brought new challenges, but also immense personal satisfaction for Amanda. She was finally living her dream of having a thriving and recognized business. Amanda's sweet shop became a reference in town. People sought her out for weddings, graduations, and other important events. "Amanda, you should write a cookbook," a customer suggested. "Your sweets are one of a kind." The idea of writing a cookbook excited Amanda. It would be a way to share her knowledge and also increase her income. "What do you think?" Amanda asked Michael. "I think you should go for it. You have the knowledge and experience," and Michael supported her. Amanda began working on the cookbook in her spare time. Emma helped by testing recipes and giving her opinion on flavors. "This passion fruit Brigadeiro is even better than the traditional one," Emma commented, licking her fingers. The cookbook became another family project. Michael helped organize the text, and Emma contributed drawings to illustrate the pages. After months of work, the book was ready. Amanda decided to self-publish, starting with a small print run to sell in her shop. Amanda's Sweets, Recipes with Love. Emma read the book's title. "It's beautiful, Mom." The book sales were surprisingly good. Customers bought it not just for the recipes, but also as a keepsake from Amanda's shop. "You should make a second edition," Dorothy suggested, having bought several copies as gifts. The book's success caught the attention of the local press. A journalist from the town's newspaper wanted to write a story about Amanda's journey. "It's an inspiring story, from unemployed to successful entrepreneur," the journalist remarked during the interview. Amanda was moved to see her story published in the paper. It was public recognition of all the effort she had put into rebuilding her life. "Look, Mom, you're in the newspaper," Emma said, running with the paper in hand. The newspaper feature brought even more customers to Amanda's shop. People from other towns started placing orders, especially after reading about her. A story of overcoming adversity. "Your story touched a lot of people," Michael commented, seeing the increased foot traffic. "Sometimes I can't believe how much my life has changed," Amanda reflected. "You deserve all this and more," Michael said, hugging her. Richard, seeing Amanda's growing success, made one last attempt. He showed up at her shop one afternoon, but this time with a different attitude. "Amanda, I came to apologize," Richard said, surprising her. "Apologize?" Amanda couldn't hide her surprise. I know I was very harsh with you, and I know I tried to hurt your business out of wounded pride, Richard admitted. Amanda watched him warily, trying to understand what Richard really wanted. Why now? Amanda asked. Because I saw your story in the paper. I saw how you managed to rise up on your own, and I admire that, Richard said. Amanda was tempted to believe Richard's sincerity, but her past with him made her cautious. Richard, I accept your apology, but I haven't forgotten what you did to me and Emma, Amanda said. I understand. I just wanted you to know I recognize my mistake, Richard replied, turning to leave. Richard, wait, Amanda called out to him. Why isn't your diner working out? Richard stopped and turned, surprised by the question. Because I can't cook like you, and because I was too focused on hurting you instead of focusing on my own business, Richard admitted. Have you ever thought about switching careers? Amanda asked. Why would I? Richard replied. Because we all have different talents. Yours isn't in the kitchen, Amanda said. Richard grew thoughtful at her words. You're right. I've always been better with numbers and management, Richard reflected. Then focus on that, Amanda suggested. Richard left Amanda's shop with a pensive expression. A few weeks later, Amanda heard he had closed the diner and opened a small accounting office. Looks like our problem with Richard is finally over, Michael Davis remarked. I think so. Everyone's found their place, Amanda agreed. With the conflicts with Richard resolved, Amanda could fully focus on growing her business and strengthening her family. Emma was thriving in school and had become one of the most diligent students in her class. She also developed an interest in cooking, always helping Amanda with new recipes. Mum, can I create my own recipe? Emma asked one afternoon. Of course you can, sweetheart. What's your idea? Amanda encouraged. Strawberry brigadeiro with pink sprinkles, Emma said excitedly. Emma's recipe became so popular at the shop that Amanda decided to add it to the official menu, naming it Emma's Brigadeiro. Now I'm a baker just like Mom, Emma said proudly. Michael Davis was also thriving professionally. With the growth of Amanda's customer base, he decided to diversify his products and began supplying savory snacks for events, working in partnership with her shop. We're officially business partners, Michael joked. Partners in life and business, Amanda replied, smiling. A year after moving into their new home, Amanda reflected on her journey. From a woman thrown out with nothing, she had become a respected business owner in town. Michael, do you remember the day we met? Amanda asked one evening. How could I forget? Two lost people who found a family in each other, Michael answered. Sometimes I think everything happened for a reason. If Richard hadn't kicked me out, I never would have met you, Amanda mused. And I never would have discovered I could be happy again, Michael added. Emma, who had been listening from the kitchen, ran into the living room. Are you talking about the day we became a family? Emma asked. Yes, we are, sweetheart, Michael replied, pulling her into a hug. It was the best day of my life, Emma said. Amanda looked at her family and felt immense gratitude. After so much hardship, she finally had everything she'd ever dreamed of. A loving partner, a happy daughter, and a fulfilling independent career. The sweet shop continued to grow, and Amanda began receiving invitations to speak about women's entrepreneurship at local events. I never thought I'd one day be asked to teach others, Amanda commented after her first talk. You have an inspiring story to tell, Michael said. Our story, Amanda corrected, because none of this would have been possible without you. During her talks, Amanda always emphasized the importance of never giving up on dreams, even when all seems lost. 3 years ago, I was on the streets with my daughter, broke and hopeless. Today, I have my own business and a happy family. If I could do it, anyone can, Amanda told the audience. After the talk, many women approached her for advice on how to start their own businesses. You've become a role model for other women, one attendee remarked. Amanda was moved to see her story inspiring others facing similar struggles. Back home, she shared her speaking experience with the family. I think I've found another purpose in life, Amanda said. What is it? Emma asked. To help other women discover they're also capable of achieving their dreams, Amanda explained. Michael smiled proudly at the woman Amanda had become. "You've always been inspiring, Amanda. Now others are seeing it too," he said. By year's end, Amanda organized a special event at her shop, a celebration of her business's 2-year anniversary, and a thank you to everyone who'd supported her journey. "I want to thank every person who believed in me when I didn't even believe in myself," Amanda said in her speech. Dorothy sat in the front row, beaming with pride at Amanda's transformation. "I always knew you were special, my dear," Dorothy said tearfully. The party was a success, and Amanda realized she'd built not just a business, but a caring community. 9-year-old Emma insisted on helping with every preparation. "Mom, can I say something during your speech?" Emma asked. "Of course, sweetheart. What do you want to say?" Amanda replied. "I want to thank Michael for saving our family," Emma said solemnly. When her turn came, Emma stood at the makeshift microphone and, with childlike sincerity, moved everyone to tears. "Michael isn't just my stepdad, he's my hero. He saved me and Mom when we had nothing. Now we have everything." Not a dry eye remained after her words. Michael, visibly emotional, listened as Emma continued. "And Mom's a hero too. She makes the world's best sweets and never gives up on her dreams." Amanda cried as she heard her daughter's words, realizing her greatest achievement wasn't professional success, but giving Emma a happy, secure home. "Thank you, my love," Amanda said, hugging her on the makeshift stage. The party lasted well into the night, where Amanda announced her future plans. "Next year, I'll open a second shop in a nearby town. I also want to start a program teaching baking to women in need." Warm applause followed, with many offering support. "You never stop, do you?" Michael teased. "I've learned that when we stop dreaming, we stop living," Amanda replied. In the following month, she worked tirelessly to launch her projects. The second shop opened, and her baking initiative partnered with a local non-profit. "Amanda, you're becoming a regional figure," remarked the journalist who'd first written about her. "I don't want to be a figure. I want to be an example," Amanda answered. The baking program brought her deep joy. Watching women facing hardships similar to her own discover talent and income moved her. "Teacher Amanda, I sold 20 brigadeiros at my son's school," one student excitedly shared. "Congratulations, now you know what you're capable of," Amanda replied proudly. Emma joined in too, helping younger children decorate simple sweets. "Mom, teaching is so fun," she said after an afternoon of activities. "That's right, my love. When we share knowledge, everyone wins," Amanda explained. Michael Davis watched Amanda's personal and professional growth with admiration. The woman he had met a few years earlier, fragile and lost, had transformed into a respected community leader. "Amanda, I have a proposal for you," Michael said one evening. "What kind of proposal?" Amanda asked, curious. "Marry me," Michael said, pulling a simple ring from his pocket. Amanda was surprised by the request. They had lived as a family for years, but had never made it official. "Michael," Amanda began, visibly emotional, "I know we're already a family, but I want it to be official. I want Emma to have my last name, and I want the world to know you're my family forever," Michael explained. Emma, who had overheard the conversation, came running into the room. "Mommy's going to marry you?" Emma asked excitedly. "If she says yes," Michael replied, still waiting for Amanda's answer. "I do," Amanda said, holding out her hand for the ring. Michael slipped the ring onto her finger and kissed her, sealing the commitment that had already lived in their hearts for years. "Now, I'll be a Davis," Emma cheered. The news of the engagement spread quickly through the community, and everyone was happy to see the union made official after so long. "You two are the most beautiful couple in town," Dorothy commented. The wedding was set for 6 months later, giving Amanda enough time to plan without disrupting her business. "It'll be a simple wedding, but full of love," Amanda planned. The tea ceremony took place in Amanda and Michael's backyard, decorated by Emma and Dorothy. It was a small but deeply moving celebration. "Amanda, do you take Michael to be your husband?" the officiant asked. "I do," Amanda replied, looking into Michael's eyes with all the love she felt. "Michael, do you take Amanda to be your wife?" I do, and I also take Emma as my daughter, Michael answered, making sure to include the girl in the commitment. Emma was radiant, wearing a pink dress she had picked out herself to be her mother's flower girl. Now we're officially a family, Emma shouted as the couple kissed. The wedding reception lasted all night, filled with food, music, and joy. Amanda couldn't stop smiling. A few years ago, I never imagined I could be this happy, Amanda confided to Dorothy. You deserve all this happiness, my dear. You've been through so much to get here, Dorothy replied. Throughout the celebration, many gave heartfelt speeches about Amanda and Michael's journey. You two are proof that love can change any situation, a neighbor said. Their honeymoon was simple. 3 days at a beachside inn with Emma joining them. They had decided they didn't want to be apart from her. This is our first family trip, Emma said, building sandcastles. Amanda watched her daughter play on the beach and reflected on everything that had brought her here. What are you thinking about? Michael asked, sitting beside her. I'm thinking life is funny. Sometimes when everything seems lost, you find exactly what you needed, Amanda answered. And you're exactly what I needed, Michael said, kissing her forehead. When they returned from their honeymoon, Amanda resumed her projects with even more energy. The social initiative was growing, and she had decided to expand the program to other cities. Amanda, you're becoming a role model in social entrepreneurship, a city representative remarked. I just want to help other women discover they're capable, Amanda replied. Emma, now 10 years old, was becoming increasingly involved in her mother's projects. She had developed a special talent for teaching younger children. Mom, when I grow up, I want to have a business just like yours, Emma said. You can have any business you want, sweetheart. The important thing is to do something that makes you happy, Amanda encouraged. Michael Davis had also expanded his business, working in full partnership with Amanda. Together, they became a reference for artisanal food in the region. We're an unbeatable team, Michael joked. 2 years after their wedding, Amanda received a special invitation to participate in a television program about women's entrepreneurship that would be broadcast statewide. Amanda, your story is inspiring and deserves to be known by more people, the show's producer said. Amanda was nervous about appearing on television, but Michael encouraged her. You'll help so many women by sharing your experience, he said. On the program, Amanda told her story from the moment she was kicked out of her home to becoming a successful businesswoman. The secret isn't never falling down. The secret is always getting back up, Amanda told the cameras. Her appearance on the show brought even greater attention to her business, as well as countless messages from women who identified with her story. I received over 100 messages from women sharing their own stories of overcoming hardships, Amanda recounted to her family. You're making a difference in so many people's lives, Emma said, proud of her mother. With her growing success, Amanda began receiving invitations to write a book about her journey. After much thought, she decided to accept. It'll be a book about new beginnings and the strength we all have inside us, Amanda explained the concept. The book took a year to write, with Amanda dedicating a few hours each week to the project. Emma and Michael helped, contributing their perspectives on the story. From Nothing to Everything, A Journey of New Beginnings, Michael read the finished book's title. It's perfect, Emma approved. The book launch was a major event in town. Amanda organized a signing at her own shop, and the line of interested people stretched around the corner. Amanda, your story touched my heart. I've also been through tough times, and you gave me hope, one reader said during the launch. The book became a regional success, and Amanda began receiving invitations to speak in other cities and states. You're becoming a national figure, Michael remarked. It's not about fame, it's about the positive impact I can have on people's lives, Amanda replied. Emma, now 12, had developed impressive maturity. She understood the importance of her mother's work and always supported her. Mom, you saved our family, and now you're saving other families too, Emma said during one of Amanda's trips for a speaking engagement. Her words moved Amanda deeply. She realized she had raised a daughter who understood the importance of helping others. With the success of her book and speaking engagements, Amanda decided to create an online platform to teach baking and entrepreneurship to women across the country. This way, I can help people who are far from here, Amanda explained the project. The online platform was another success. Within months, Amanda had students from various states across the United States. "Teacher Amanda, your classes changed my life. I was able to get out of unemployment and now support my family with sweets," one student wrote in a testimonial. Amanda read each testimonial with emotion, knowing every transformed life meant a happier family. "Michael, sometimes I can't believe everything we've managed to build," Amanda said one evening, looking at the certificates and awards she had received. "I always believed in you," Michael responded. "From the first day I saw you, I knew you were special." "We are special. Together," Amanda corrected. 5 years after their marriage, Amanda was invited to receive an honor from the City Council for her social and entrepreneurial work. "It is an honor to recognize Amanda Davis as an exemplary citizen of our city," the councilman said during the ceremony. Emma, now a 15-year-old teenager, was in the audience, proud to see her mother publicly recognized. "When I grow up, I want to be like my mum," Emma told Michael during the ceremony. "You already are like your mother, determined, brave, and full of love," Michael replied. In her acceptance speech, Amanda made sure to mention all the people who had helped her along her journey. "Nothing I've achieved would have been possible without the people who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself," Amanda said. She looked at Michael in the audience and continued, "My husband Michael was my guardian angel. When I was lost, he offered me not just a plate of food, but hope. And with that hope, I was able to rebuild my life and discover I was capable of so much more than I imagined." The audience was moved by Amanda's heartfelt speech. Many people cried as they listened to her story of overcoming adversity. After the ceremony, Amanda, Michael, and Emma went out to dinner to celebrate. It was a special moment for the family. "Mum, do you think Uncle Richard saw the ceremony on TV?" Emma asked. "Maybe, but it doesn't matter anymore," Amanda replied. "What matters is that we've moved forward and built something beautiful." Richard, who had moved to another city and built a successful accounting firm, had indeed watched the ceremony on TV. He sent Amanda a simple message. "Congratulations. You deserve all of this." Amanda showed the message to Michael. "Seems like he's really changed," Michael remarked. "People can change when they find their true purpose," Amanda reflected. Emma had inherited her mother's entrepreneurial spirit and was already planning her own business for after she finished school. "I want to start a company that teaches coding to underprivileged kids," Emma announced during dinner. "That's a beautiful idea, sweetheart. And I know you'll make it happen," Amanda encouraged. Michael smiled, seeing that Emma had learned from Amanda the importance of using success to help others. "This family only produces dreamers," Michael joked. "Dreamers who make their dreams come true," Amanda corrected. 10 years after being kicked out of her home with Emma in her arms, Amanda had become one of the most respected businesswomen in the region. Her companies provided jobs for dozens of people, and her social projects had helped hundreds of women achieve financial independence. But what made her proudest wasn't the awards or public recognition. It was the fact that she had built a happy, stable family for Emma. "Michael, do you remember when you said you'd teach me how to make coxinha?" Amanda asked one afternoon as they worked together in the kitchen. "I do. And you learned so well you surpassed the teacher," Michael replied, smiling. "Actually, you taught me much more than how to make coxinha. You taught me it was possible to start over," Amanda said, pausing to look at him. "And you taught me it's never too late to find a family," Michael answered, kissing her gently. Emma, who had just come home from school, interrupted her parents' romantic moment. "You two are being mushy again," Emma teased, but she was smiling. "We have the right to be cheesy. We've been married for years," Amanda retorted, laughing. "And I have the right to tease. I'm your daughter," Emma replied, hugging them both. At that moment, Amanda looked around her kitchen, saw her happy daughter and her smiling husband, and felt deep gratitude for everything she had achieved. "You know what's funny?" Amanda said. "What?" Michael asked. "If someone had told me 10 years ago that I'd be this happy, I wouldn't have believed it," Amanda reflected. "And if someone had told me I'd find a family selling coxinha on the street, I wouldn't have believed it either, Michael added. Emma looked at her parents affectionately. Do you think our story will have a happy ending forever? Emma asked with the typical curiosity of a teenager. Amanda and Michael exchanged glances and smiled. Our story already has a happy ending. Sweetheart, every day is a happy ending, Amanda replied. And every day is also a new beginning, Michael finished. Emma smiled, satisfied with her parents' answer. So let's make brigadeiros to celebrate, Emma suggested. Let's make brigadeiros to celebrate, Amanda agreed. And so the Davis family spent the rest of the afternoon making sweets, sharing stories, and planning their future. There was nothing extraordinary about that moment, just an ordinary family doing ordinary things. But for Amanda, who had once lost everything, that normality was the greatest gift she could have received. That night, when Emma went to sleep, Amanda and Michael stayed on the porch gazing at the stars. Michael, thank you, Amanda said suddenly. For what? Michael asked. For giving me the chance to be happy again, Amanda replied. Amanda, you don't have to thank me. You saved my life just as much as I saved yours, Michael said. What do you mean? Amanda asked. I was living, but I wasn't alive. The two of you gave meaning to my existence, Michael explained. Amanda rested her head on Michael's shoulder, and they stayed silent for a few minutes, simply enjoying the peace of the moment. Do you think Emma will remember this time when she grows up? Amanda asked. I'm sure she will. And she'll tell her kids about the brave mother who rebuilt her life from scratch, Michael answered. And about the wonderful stepfather. Who saved us, Amanda added. No, Amanda, we saved each other, Michael corrected. Amanda smiled, knowing Michael was right. They had found each other when they needed it most, and together they had built something beautiful and lasting. I love you, Michael Davis, Amanda said. I love you too, Amanda Davis, Michael replied. And so ends the story of Amanda, Emma, and Michael, a story that began with despair and ended with hope, a story that proves sometimes the greatest blessings come from the hardest moments, a story that shows with love, determination, and a little help, it's possible to rebuild a life and find happiness. Because in the end, life isn't about never falling, it's about always getting back up. And Amanda learned that in the most beautiful way possible, by finding a family along the way. The end. Now, tell us what you thought of the story and where you're watching from. If you have something to share with us, leave a sincere comment. Do you think Amanda made the right choices during her journey? We'd love to read your thoughts. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like this story and, most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other heartwarming stories like this one.